Blessings, blessings, blessings. We are back once again. Talk some NBA playoffs. I'm gonna jump right into it. These playoffs have been a major letdown. Some of the matchups obviously looked a little one-sided before we started, but it did seem like some of the other matchups would be more promising. But injuries and suspensions and drama due to people not getting suspended and all that stuff has kind of hampered these playoffs from being as good as they can be. So we're going to get right into these matchups, talk about some of these series, kind of what I see happening for the rest of the series. And we'll see. Some of these series went 4 games already. Then you have 2 that have only played 3 games with the Heat and the Bucks and the Lakers and the Grizz. So, you're kind of in that weird space to where the game 3s and game 4s and, they start being off center, so it's hard to go game by game with each series because they not on schedule with each other anymore. So we're gonna start off, of course, talking about the 1-8 matchup on the West. The Nuggets and the Timberwolves series kind of went going how I thought it was gonna go. The Nuggets are just the better team all around. They're better coach. And the Timberwolves are really just trash. Like, to be a playoff team, it's like they need a new coach. Let's just get that out of the way. They need a new coach. They need new players. They need to just do something different because for 2 years in a row to be losing big leads like this, because they should have beat the Grizzlies last year. Based on the scores of the game and how the games went, of course, the Grizzlies, you give credit to them for coming back and winning those games. But when you get in a playoff atmosphere, it's unacceptable to just keep losing leads like this. Last night, the game that they did win, they had a 12-point lead with like 2 minutes left, and they let the Nuggets erase that from them taking bad shots. They're giving up layups off of made baskets. All of that's unacceptable. That's bad coaching. Then when the Nuggets did force overtime, I think they was up 7 to 9 points in overtime, and then let the Nuggets come back and hit the big shot at the end to push the lead back up. That ended up being insurmountable for the Nuggets. But man, it's just really crazy to see a team that is just this. Like I said, just low basketball IQ. It's just a low IQ team, and you see it over and over again. And I think they just need to change coaching at this point. At least just get them a better coach to see what can you get, because it's easy to just say, well, Rudy and Cat can't play together. But when there's so many other moving parts that's going on, there's dysfunctional, there's not really working, then you have to go and look and see, well, maybe it's a coaching thing. It might not necessarily mean that he lost them, they're not listening to his voice. He might just really not be that good of a coach. Chris Finch, he had, I guess you could say he had 2 good seasons. They made it to the playoffs, but if you want to see this team go higher with the amount of talent that they have, because even this season, bringing in Mike Conley, and then you're bringing in Kyle Anderson, 2 steady ball handlers, two guys who are normally good playmakers. Good, you can trust them, to be the adults in the room on the court. Even now, you still see those same things hampering this team, and I don't want to just make it like the Nuggets just are getting away with an easy matchup, but they are an easy matchup, especially for the Nuggets, who are a good team. It's just making it to where they're going to be even more and more or less tested. To me, I said this off camera, so I say it on camera. If you're losing to the Timberwolves, I can't consider you a championship team. It's a long way to go in the playoffs, but I looked at the Nuggets as a good regular season team that is going to falter in the playoffs unless they get some more pieces. I want to say more defensive pieces. I think their defense is kind of overrated because Jokic is so good, but I think when the game really slows down and they play a good team, then we're going to really be able to see what do they have now, because you have Jamal Murray back, who we know is a playoff performer, and you have Michael Porter Jr. back, who he's been playing really, really well. So we'll see, man. We'll see. I've been wrong before, but We'll see if this team has the legs to really make some real noise. But we'll go to the next one, man. Bucks in Miami. Injuries. Tyler Hero out for the series. And it's reports that Giannis will be back for game 4, but since Giannis has been down, it's kind of went how I thought it was gonna go. You know, he got hurt in game 1. The Bucks kind of hung around, but the Heat really took advantage of it. It was more so the Heat wanted that game more. I think the Heat, because of all the noise and them coming in and having to win and the play in and get in, I think they was just more desperate for that one. So then game 2, you see, well, we missing our stars, so now we about to really, really play good, and that's what we saw. The Bucks had that fire in them because Giannis wasn't able to play, you know, their first game. So now they supercharged up, and then they play above their means and they get the win. So then we seen in game 3 that the Bucks are really a regular team without Giannis. Giannis is what makes them be so unstoppable at times. It makes them feel like this juggernaut because of how good he really is. So hopefully he comes back. They said he's going to play in game 4, barring any setbacks. I'm pretty sure they see that they don't want to go down 3-1 to this team because it's looking like Miami really can't beat these boys if Giannis not playing. And then it's going to set it up down the line to where we just going to get looking like just poor matchups going forward because of injuries that's derailed these playoffs. It's unfortunate Giannis having back spasms and whatever tightness in his back, but you know, they say injuries is a part of the game. We live with it. We understand that, but it's like, man, you just hate that in the playoffs injuries start hitting so tough, and it's clearly influencing a lot of these matchups. So we'll see when they play game 4 how this goes. We'll see how it goes because it's hard to really project. It's hard to project when I don't know if Giannis is gonna play. And then even with Giannis playing, what Giannis are we going to get? Is he going to be able to just be himself, or is he going to be on a minutes restriction? Is it going to be noticeable that he's having back problems? Is he going to play the first quarter and then they say, well, it tightened up on him? You know, it's hard to really know. Usually when I make projections, you know, you can't project for injuries. So when I'm projecting a series out from the beginning, I'm projecting that both teams being at full health or whatever their full health looks like at the time when the series starts. Because you might have, say, like if Miami advances, I'm not going to project them with Tyler Hero playing because we don't know when Tyler Hero. I think they said 4 to 6 weeks, and that's probably just a baseline. You never really know. So I wouldn't project Tyler Hero playing, but whoever is playing right then, that's who I would project. And then if somebody get hurt in the series, obviously that shifts the series. So I had Bucks in 5. Obviously that's not possible now because Miami is up 2-1. So we'll see, man. I love Giannis. I love the motor that he has. I love his mentality and how he attacks and plays the game, which is seemingly hard on the body. So we'll see how his body shapes up, how he holds up moving forward, and we'll see how this series continues to go. Lakers and the Grizz. Ja came back. Game 3, I think he dropped 45, but it wasn't enough. They went down 20 in the first quarter. I think what we saw happen in this game is the lights was really just too bright for them to start the game. I think they really didn't, although this was the 3rd game in the series, I don't think they understood how it was going to feel playing in LA in the playoffs. I don't think they wasn't ready for that feeling of like the whole world is really watching because it's the playoffs, right? We get it that it's the playoffs. Everybody is watching, but if you playing in LA, it's different. Like the people that you look up to and you know, a lot of these guys as young cats, you know, they might have saw the celebrities and been starstruck or made them a little bit more tight, a little bit more nervous because I think the stat was something like they went 1 for 15 on wide open shots like this. That's really just unbelievable. and you have to attribute it to nerves. You have to attribute it to them just being nervous on that stage. So I see them playing better in game 4. I actually have the Grizz winning game 4. I really still think Grizz in 6 is going to be the play. I think with Ja coming back, Ja being able to establish himself for the team, because we saw in game 2, the team played good. They got the win without Ja. Then you start hearing the rumblings. Well, are they better without Ja? They seem like they always better without Ja. I know I troll with it before. I troll people with it before, but to me, it's impossible to say a team is better without their best player. It just doesn't make sense to me. I understand that it makes them play a little with more of an edge. It makes them take better care of the ball because they don't have that safety net of their superstar there. But it's no way the team is better without their superstar. It just doesn't make sense to me. It's other variables to it. Like I said, the will and the desire and the hunger is different when they don't have him there to really carry the load like he does. But you saw Jaren Jackson Jr. didn't really have a good game. Desmond Bane had a better game kind of than his other 2 games. So we'll see, man. I think the Lakers let them back in the game. I think that really helped them be more comfortable in the series. And I think they're going to win game 4. I think Ja figured out how he needs to navigate to really be able to score on Vanderbilt. Even though Ja shot better than he normally does, I think Ja's really more comfortable in the series now. And I think even though the Lakers have the size advantage, they have the veteran experience, I still don't think they have the cohesiveness to really beat this team. But we'll see, because the team being down, Steven Adams and Brandon Clark has been a way bigger deal than I originally projected, because Anthony Davis has really been killing. It seems like every game he getting 5+ blocks. I saw somebody say this, and I 100% agree. If Anthony Davis had Giannis' mindset and Giannis' motor, it's no way this man would not be the best player in the league. Like, it would be clear cut. He probably win MVP. It probably wouldn't be no voter fatigue for him, because the dude is so talented. He's so skilled to be as big as he is on both sides of the ball. He's very skilled. I think it's just really amazing to me of how good he is, and then the potential that we don't see because of the injuries, of course, and then 2, because of how soft he plays a lot of the times. He plays soft sometimes, and then he disappears sometimes. It's like you might look up and he got 28, but it feels like he haven't done nothing in the game. He had to, even last game, I mean, you felt his presence a little bit more. And, of course, they highlighted because of he had 15 boards and all that, but you still don't feel like he just dominating. Like, think about young LeBron. When LeBron was younger, when he was having those battles with the Warriors in the playoffs, you felt like LeBron was out there killing. Like, I don't know what it is. It's just that force. You could just feel LeBron playing with so much force, and you don't really feel that with AD. I don't know if the game is just that easy to him. He feel like he doesn't have to play at that level, or he doesn't impose his will, so to speak, as much. But I think that really is what hinders AD from really reaching his potential. But we'll see. The way it's looking now is they will advance. Even though I still believe the Grizzlies are going to win, we'll see how these teams really are able to match up with Anthony Davis. If a light switch clicks on for him and he starts playing even more aggressive, we'll see what happens. But right now, I think that's what kind of makes me still not be a believer in the Lakers as much. Even though we saw them do it in the bubble, and we're not gonna talk about the Mickey Mouse ring, but it's a long series left. Game 4. We'll see how the Grizzlies respond to having such a poor showing and then still only losing by 10. They was in the game. They got themselves back in a lot of times, and then the Lakers will respond. So we'll see. We'll see if they have a better start, they have a better finish going into Game 4. Oh man, I had such high hopes of this series. Even with Paul George being out, even with Paul George for sure being out for this whole series, I had the Clippers in 7 because I knew how good Kawhi was and how good this veteran team could be cohesive against the Suns, who was still fairly new. Because when KD got there, KD has missed a lot of time. They lost a lot of depth. So I that's what made me think the Clippers had a real chance. Then we saw they come back to LA, no Kawhi. It's over with. It makes it even more sad because you see the resurgence of Russell Westbrook. He's actually balling, and it's just not enough. Norman Powell trying his best. You see guys stepping up the best they can to keep the games close because they not getting blew out. But at some point, you just gotta have your superstar when you're going against those guys, man. It's too much firepower. And it's only so much defense you can play. They trying their best. They keeping up with scoring as much as they can. But I mean, you got Kevin Durant over there, man. Devin Booker been balling. I mean, it's unfortunate, man. It's unfortunate that this Clippers team, I don't know if they get another season to try, but they haven't been able to get they two superstars to play together for any real amount of time. Now you see you don't have either one of them, and now you're trying to win a playoff series, which is obviously winnable. It's a winnable series. If you look at the scores, all the scores have been close outside of game 2, and that was really more so because they lost home court. The Suns was even more locked in than they needed to be. So I think without Kawhi, you might as well just hang it up. They down 3-1. Whenever they play again, that's gonna be their last game because it's no return timetable for Kawhi. So we don't know when his knee is gonna be not swollen again and he could play. I mean, I guess you could say the same thing. He could play in game 5. I guess he could, but do you have him for the rest of the series if he play in game 5? Or do they shut him down because they hoping to keep Kawhi and probably see what they can get for Paul George? But if they had both of their superstars, I really do believe they would have won this series in 6. They have more depth. I think Ty Lue is a better coach than Monty, but when you don't have your main guys available, it's hard to win. It's hard to win one game, let alone say we're gonna win the whole series. So, oh man, this was a series I had so much promise for. I had so much hope and how good the series is gonna be, but when injuries strike, this is what results. You get a lackluster series that should have been great. Atlanta and Boston kind of went how I said it was gonna go. Atlanta was gonna get one spirited home win. Then Boston was gonna come back and put them clamps down, and they're gonna take care of these boys in 5, and that's what it's looking like it's gonna happen. At some point, we have to talk about Trae Young and how he always seems to regress in the playoffs. Outside of the 1 year, when everybody was hurt and they went to the Eastern Conference Finals, but we'll talk about that in another video. But I mean, Boston is a good team. I think last year they played the Heat and he was getting clamped up. So I mean, it's not like it's not good defenders that's causing him to not be as effective as he normally is. But you can say that about any team. Any team is going to have some kind of defender that is going to be on that superstar, and that superstar is still expected to perform. Now we can say Trae Young is young and all of that, and he still got his whole career ahead of him. That's fine, but when you start hyping him up so much in the regular season, then when it comes to the playoffs, you got to perform. And he might get a pass another season. We'll see how long the vultures stay off him, but eventually you'll start hearing the whispers of, can Trae Young really be a number 1 on a winning team? It's really a good team built around them, although it is a lot of youth, but the team assembly is very balanced. They have defenders, they have big men, they really have a lot of pieces, but it's up to Trae to really just elevate the team. Not the cliche thing where people say You got to be able to make people better around you. I never subscribe to that, and I hate that. I hate that that's a thing that people say, because you're not shooting the ball for nobody. You can set them up to be open and passing the ball. You're not making them make shots. You're not making them make the next best pass, the next best decision. You're not helping them with none of that. So we'll see what Ice Trey, if he got ice in his veins for this game 5, because right now they down 3-1, and it does not look good for him. It's no semblance of they can push this series to 7 or none of that. They might win one more, but I doubt it. I doubt they win in the game in Boston. I think this series is over when they get back to Beantown, and then the Celtics will be moving on to the second round to face Philly, who already ended their series. Cavs in 6. Ain't looking good. It ain't looking good, man. The Knicks is up 3-1. Donovan Mitchell is a superstar, don't get me wrong. And it's almost, I won't say it's the same thing as Trey, but I think Donovan Mitchell doesn't get as much criticism for not being able to win in the playoffs, because Donovan Mitchell always plays at a high level. Now, game 4, he was broke. He was missing a lot of shots. I think this team, too, is so well built around him, especially for him to have been acquired the way he was. This team really is solid around him, but for some reason the Knicks just seem to have a number. Jalen Brunson is balling. The man is balling again. They switch conferences, and Jalen Brunson is giving Donovan Mitchell their work in the first round again. They went from the Jazz and the Mavs to the Cavs and the Knicks, and Brunson is still busting his man every time. So I think the Knicks, I think they are better than people expected them to be, especially to see how they're performing in the playoffs. But Tom Thibodeau is a good coach, and you kind of see that coming out more and more. And I think just because of it's hard to even say talent, because the Knicks really aren't that talented. Like they really not. The Cavs are a better or more talented team, but it's not showing. You're not seeing the results of that. So, I mean, they might end up getting a new coach. We'll see, because I think with the way this team is built, the pieces that they have, the expectations are going to be higher. I think with this being Mitchell's first year over there, they might get a coach a pass, but then again, they might say, we seen all we need to see. They need a coach that's going to take them to another level to really see what this team can do, because the team on paper looks like it's really good. You got everything you really need outside of a true 3 or a true wing, because people say we're in position as basketball, but they need a 3. They need a true person that can play the 3 on the floor with their starting 5, and they can knock down shots. Not just be a defender, but be able to knock down shots as well. So we'll see. Maybe they can get somebody like Dorian Finney-Smith or something. He probably would fit perfect on this team. But right now it's looking like the Knicks are going to advance, because I can't see the Cavs winning out. With the Knicks already being up 3-1, I cannot see the Cavs winning out. I can see the Cavs winning one at home. I don't see how they win Game 6, because the Knicks, if they lose Game 5, the Knicks are going to be even more desperate. And the way that the matchup has looked, it just looks like the Knicks just are a bad matchup for them right now. They not making really good adjustments in game to try to take away the things that the Knicks want. When RJ Barrett is getting buckets, then something is wrong. Somebody got to look in the mirror somewhere and see what can they do to different. So maybe it's gonna turn into Knicks in 6. Maybe the Cavs can get that spirited home win, like, oh, we really need this one. We not ready to go home win, Maybe they can get one of those in, but they not. There's no way they beating this team 3 times in a row. I just don't see it happening. From how the games have went, I don't see them beating this team 3 times in a row. So this might be one for sure that is really just dead. 76ers and 5. 76ers and 4. I said, with them being professionals, I did not want to rule out, them being able to win one game. Even Joel Embiid missed game 4 and they still won. This series has had some controversy too, because when we get to the War series, we'll talk about the suspension and all that. But we saw James Harden get the flagrant 2. He got ejected out of game 3 earlier in that game. Embiid kicked up on Claxton because Claxton dunked on him and stood over him, and all that. Nobody wants to be stood over, so a lot of the talk was, are they gonna get suspended? Are they gonna get suspended? All that, but nothing came of it. And then you saw Joel missed the game. They said it's nothing serious, so we'll see if he's ready to go to face Boston, because that series is cooked, is over with. I like that matchup. We'll talk about that matchup when we get there. But this series went how I thought. Brooklyn was just really happy to be there. They had kind of a good cushion from when KD and Kyrie was still there, and then they just stayed afloat enough as they could to not have to be in the play-ins. But they had no chance against these boys. The teams was just unevenly matched, and we saw it on the court. We saw 76ers take care of business. It was some games that was close. The Nets had a lead late, I think, in game 3. It might have been game 2. But it had to be game 3. They won by 5. But you saw Tyrese Maxey step up, who is a huge piece for them. Harden has played pretty much good. You can say solid. Harden has been solid. Then Joel has dominated them as much as you can expect him to with the way his team has played. He hasn't had to just really go super crazy yet, but moving forward, he will have to. And you hope that the injury is not that serious so that he can be ready to go when the round 2 games start. But this series was a sweep. I guess you could say I was wrong because I said it in 5, but to me, it's the same thing. Last but not least, 3-6 matchup in the West. Kings and the Warriors. I'm sticking by Warriors in 6, baby. Warriors in 6. Warriors tied up 2-2. You saw the controversy of Draymond stepped on Sabonis after Sabonis grabbed his ankle in game 2. And then, it's been a lot of talk about, was it fair or should he have got suspended? I don't think he should have got suspended, but I understood the suspension when Joe Dumars and them gave the reason for his suspension, because he was a repeat offender, his history and all that. But what then makes it look bad is when a guy like Dylan Brooks, he hit LeBron in the lower midsection, as they say on TV. And then Brooks doesn't get suspended, even though last year he literally hurt a player and got suspended last year. He doesn't get suspended. And it just that's what makes it be how Draymond said the Draymond rules, which I think like I said, I don't think he should have got suspended, but I think if you suspend one, you suspend both, because if Sabonis didn't grab his ankle, then Draymond doesn't step on him. One begat the other. So I think what should have happened was either you suspend both or you suspend none and you let them continue to play. But what it did, though, was gave Kerr insight into what does it look like with them playing with one big on the floor at all times. So in game 3, you saw with Draymond being out, Kevon Looney had 4 points, 20 boards, I think like 9 assists, something like that. But you saw how spread open the floor was, and they was able to take better advantage of, the Kings defense not being that good, because the driving lanes was more open, passing lanes was more open. And then you saw the Warriors really run away with that game. So the interesting thing was, well, when Draymond come back, then what is that going to look like? Is Kerr going to stick with his starting 5? And we saw the reports that Draymond went to Steve Kerr and he said, he wanted to come off the bench because that's what worked. He saw how good it worked. He didn't think it was right. He said on his podcast, I think he didn't think it was right for Kevon Looney to have such a good game. And then, his reward then is, well, now you coming off the bench, because I think Kerr has saw that playing a 3-guard lineup with Wiggins at the 4 and one big was going to be the recipe that he wanted to continue to go with for success. So with Draymond coming back, it was going to have to be Dre because he's a designated starter. We've seen in the past Kevon Looney come off the bench, so obviously that was going to be the play. But I think seeing Steph Curry in the past come back from injury and then come off the bench was really what helped Dre. Even though we know Dre is a competitor, he cares about winning so much. I think it was a chance that he would have done it anyway, but I do believe that played a part in it. And we saw the Warriors win a nail biter. We saw Curry at the end of the game. He hit the Chris Webber, man, called a timeout. They didn't have no timeout. I'm looking at the game, I'm like, I cannot believe this because I think they was up 5. Then when you call a timeout, they changed the rule from back in the I think it was the finals. It was like in the 70s or something. Where if you call a timeout, it used to be if you call a timeout, you get the tech, they get to shoot, but you keep the ball. But whatever game it was, when they got the ball back, I think they was down 1, call a timeout. The other team hit the shot, hit the free throw to go up 2, and then when they got possession back, they tied the game up and they ended up winning the game. And then that out season, the NBA changed the rule to where you lose possession too. So with them losing possession, then you seen De'Aaron Fox, who is a straight killer, man. This dude, I know I alluded to it before, and I kind of said, it was still debatable. He better than John Morant, man. I think John Morant is the bigger personality. It's probably more likely that he be the face of the league, but this dude is cold, man. This man, he won Clutch Player of the Year, the first ever time that they awarded that award out, and this man has been proving it. And you saw him hit the big shot to cut it to 1, and then Curry go down. Curry missed the little push shot that he likes in the lane, and then at the end, you saw the good defense, man. Curry locked up. Then Draymond came over for the help. He met Fox right where he wanted to go to the rim or try to get to his sweet spot in that mid-range. Fox had to give it up to Harrison Barnes, and the forever warrior, Harrison Barnes, man, still missing them important, crucial shots. Ooh, when he was in when he played for the Warriors in the finals, man, that boy was clanking everything in the finals. But I think moving forward, I think the Kings have confidence that they can win this series, and I think the Warriors have confidence they can win this series. And this is by far been the saving grace series of the playoffs. Like by far, this series has really made the playoffs be good overall because of how good this one series is. But right now, I see the Warriors gonna go in. They're gonna go ahead and get their road win. I think you're gonna see the Kings. They're gonna come out. They're gonna be on fire. Sacramento. They're gonna show up. They're gonna be in there screaming and all that. I think they probably try to get Harrison Barnes some early shots. Try to get his confidence back up. Try to make sure there's no lingering effects from the letdown of that game. But I don't think it was one of those emotional letdown games to where the Kings will come out flat next time, especially with them being at home. I think, if anything, it gives them a little bit more hope that if they win Game 5, then they will believe more so that they can just end the series in 6. But I think this is the road game where we see the Warriors finally get them a road win. I think this is the one where we see them be locked in, them defensively start to implement more answers, because you saw Dre switching on Fox really did kind of slow him down to a certain extent, because he didn't really go off in the third quarter like he had in previous games. But in the fourth quarter he still did his thing. But we'll see what adjustments Mike Brown makes, what adjustments Steve Kerr makes, to try to see who's going to win this Game 5. It's a pivotal game. Right now, the series is the best of 3, first of 2 wins. Whoever gets 2 wins first is gonna win this series. So I think it's gonna be another good game. It's gonna be another dog fight. But I think we see the championship pedigree of the Warriors come through, and they get the road win that they desperately need in order to win this series. So, like I said, man, this is the series that's really saving the playoffs right now. Injuries and just bad matchups and players just being stupid, man. It's kind of made these playoffs really be lackluster. But we'll see, man. We'll see how these series shape out. I'll be back to talk when we get some more series ended. See where we at. See if any of these go 7, any of these go the distance, or if we see a lot of them end in 6 or end in the next game, like I originally projected. That being said, shalom, everybody.